I've been looking forward to weekends with you, baby. You, baby. You, baby. You. You go wherever you want, who we want. It's the matter. You know this song, baby? Look, Maleah. Know your crew better than you do. Hey, got me looking for you. I be looking for you. I be looking forward to weekends with you, baby. You, baby. You, baby. You. You go wherever you want, who we want. It's the matter. You know this song, baby? Look, Maleah. We also left out maybe about no answers.
Goddamn ass. Come on, God, fuck your goddamn ass. Somebody's moving. You know your goddamn good will?
Because I can't.
You got me fucked up. Fuck your goddamn will.
Hopefully we'll hear something soon.
I've been praying to keep my peace, to keep my mind.
she waited all the way to 8 o'clock in the morning to come to my other son's house to tell him that Darian was missing. My family was the one who contacted police about the missing persons.
Joe. Joe.
Looks very nice, looks very sweet. The other male hits Darian in the head. Darian loses consciousness. Darian is able to wake up during a period of time, and he is in the back of their truck, in the back of that blue truck. And he says at that point that he's in there with Maleah and his own son Cortland in the back of the truck, and there's 3 other Hispanic male suspects in the truck, and they're driving him around. Darian, so as you see, Darian loses consciousness. He's in and out of consciousness. He really doesn't know where he is until 6 p.m. on Saturday, when he sort of comes to, now on Highway 6. He wakes up. He has his 1-year-old son Cortland with him. He begins walking around. He tries to summon help. Nobody's really helping him. He goes to Methodist Hospital in Sugar Land, where he seeks treatment for his injuries. He has the 1-year-old with him, or his 2-year-old son Cortland with him. Maleah has been missing ever since. We were able to look at the license plate of the vehicle that he had been in, which belongs to the child's mother, Brittany, and it is seen driving through an intersection in Sugar Land, Texas, at around 2:54 p.m. on Saturday. So we're hoping the public can give us any information about anybody who has seen Darian during that period of time, because he doesn't really know where he was or what's going on there. Anybody who's seen the vehicle, the silver Nissan Altima, because it is among the missing right now. We don't know where her vehicle is. And anyone who has seen a blue truck or knows of a blue truck, and suspects Hispanic males that have been involved in an abduction of a child or something like that, some sort of violent crime like this. Anybody who knows any information about any of those things, we'd love the public to help us so we can fill in the blanks in this story. I realize there's a lot of blanks in that story, but we're hoping the public can fill in the blanks.
How old is Darian Vince?
Darian Vince is born in 1992, so he is 26.
He's 26.
26, yeah. 26, 27. 92 to 2019.
Did the mother was supposed to be getting picked up from the airport on Friday, and they never showed up. Did she ever report them missing because she didn't hear from them?
She did not.
Who picked her up?
She got a family member to pick her up.
Where was she coming in from?
Massachusetts, flying into Intercontinental Airport.
We heard some information that Maleah had some type of head trauma in the past and had brain surgery. Do you know anything about that?
Maleah has had multiple brain surgeries, most recently end of March, early April, to fix the flap for her injury, to kind of so the flap would grow at the same rate as her skull. So yes, she's I wouldn't call her special needs, but she's needed a lot of care, and she was sick this week too.
How did that injury happen?
It's not some sort of violent thing. I do not know.
So the mother never reported her 2 children missing on Friday when her husband never showed up to the airport to pick her up.
Not to my knowledge, no.
When did Mr. Vince report Maleah missing? Because he got up Saturday night around 6 p.m., walked to the hospital, got there, and then what?
He gets to Sugar Land Hospital later that evening around 10, 11 o'clock at night. He gets to Methodist Hospital, and then he reports that Maleah is missing at that time.
What's the gap between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m.? I know you may not know, but...
He said he was walking He was walking up Highway 6. No one would help him. No one would stop to help him. So he just had to walk all the way and eventually he went to the hospital to seek some care for his injuries.
Where's the 1-year-old currently?
1-year-old is with other family members.
Has CPS ever been involved with the family?
I'm not sure.
Where's Mr. Vince currently?
Where was Jordan when he woke up at 6?
He was on Highway 6 in the Sugarland area. He doesn't really know.
Where's Mr. Vince currently?
Darian is at home with his family right
He's
now.
at home with his family. Do you guys have any reason to believe that his story has been fabricated?
We're hoping, but the purpose of the press conference is to figure out what story is true, what really happened. We don't know. I just don't know, and I don't want to speculate.
With a 5-year-old missing, I mean, what are the steps that are being taken right now? Because the way this picture is, these are very dangerous men, and it's almost been 24 hours now.
Right, there's well, we only knew about the incident right before midnight of last night. So, from midnight to now is when the Houston Police Department's been involved in this investigation. But an Amber Alert is out. We've put out information here to you guys. We got detectives and officers out looking in the Houston Sugarland area for any similar vehicles.
Records we uncovered paint a darker picture of the little girl's life over the last several months. Documents we obtained from the Harris County clerk show that last August, the Department of Family and Protective Services received a report alleging physical abuse and neglectful supervision of Maleah. She was living with her mother, Brittany Bowens, and stepfather, Darian Vance, at the time. The state got involved after Maleah's mother brought her to the hospital with a head injury. Doctors had to do surgery to remove half of her skull. When Maleah got out of ICU, doctors ordered that she wear a helmet for 12 to 24 months while she healed. But that was not Maleah's first trip to the ER. According to records, 3 weeks earlier on July 10th, Bowens took Maleah to the ER after she was throwing up blood. Doctors reported Maleah was extremely lethargic. Maleah was treated and sent home. The very next week, on July 28th, Maleah was back in the hospital for a cut to her forehead. Medical professionals reported she had blood just outside of her brain. Neither parent was able to tell doctors what could have caused it. Bowen said she was hurt after falling from a chair, but medical professionals said that would not have caused the serious internal injuries. Doctors reported they were concerned about abuse, but in the end, the court found they could not confirm whether or not those injuries were caused by abuse. The CPS caseworker noted she had reason to believe there was neglectful supervision on Brittany Bowens' part, but nothing more. Child Protective Services has had temporary custody of Maleah since August, but they confirmed she and her siblings were placed with a relative in February. The court ordered that Maleah's parents take a parenting class. According to those records, neither has done so.
Well, also, I will tell you, she's a very brave little girl. Being that, is this on?
Yes.
Okay, being that the surgery she's had, she is strong. And I know if she's listening to this, I want you to know that Nana loves you. And I promised to take you to Lake Charles. And I still want to do that. I want to fulfill my promise that I told you the other day. And I missed you and I love you. Nana's coming for you.
Something that they talked about is that she's surgery.
Yes.
And that's important because she needs medical attention. Could you just explain so if anybody, maybe that would be something we can notice, or what kind of help?
Well, she has, is it cut, I would say, from, like, right around the bone flap area. But she has thick hair, so it's really kind of hard to see. But if you're looking for it, you'll see it. Anything you can do, if you see Maleah, please contact the police department. That's why we're here, and we're grateful for all these people that turned out. And this is something that I wouldn't wish on anybody.
We got a lot of information from police yesterday. Is there anything that you think was important that could help find her that they didn't mention, or that maybe an important piece of information that you think is important that they kind of skipped over?
No, not really. I don't. Yeah, if I did, I would say it. Trust me. I would say it if I knew something different, but I actually don't. I mean, the search team went out there today. I still don't know what's going on with that. And anyhow, hopefully we'll hear something soon. I know time is at the essence.
Why is y'all's focus this area?
I'm not sure. Honestly, there's a lot of things that it's not clear to me. So I can't really speak on what anyone says because it's not clear to me what's going on. I'm very grateful. It's good that they're out there looking for her, but that park is really big because Brittany and I went out there yesterday and we walked for miles at that park, hoping if we were to see Maleah. You have no idea what we've been doing that nobody knows anything about.
We're at 59 degrees yesterday.
Yes, we were out there. We were just walking around looking. We went to that park because we wanted to see, possibly, because they said it was the largest park around there. I don't really know the area. So we decided to go over there and just walk. And we walked all through there. We did miles in there.
Why did they want to? Why did you come to Charles?
Because that's where I'm from. That's where a lot of the relatives are. My sister, Karen, is better known as Nene, and her husband, Ronnie, which is better known as Uncle Dude to Maleah, and they love them. We have a big supportive family from Louisiana. We're not alone.
Did you talk? You said you talked to her last week. This past week was the last time you spoke with her.
And then once we left from there, we went to her house, and she didn't have a keys to get in the house. We didn't know what to do. We wasn't thinking that they were missing. We thought he was just circling around the airport. So we decided to go back to my place and wait. So that's what happened.
At what time did you finally learn?
Oh, well, the police actually, when we went to her house that morning, a policeman was in the parking lot. I just so happened a policeman passed, and I stopped him and asked him for assistance. And he was the one that asked the maintenance people to let us in. Well, basically, what happened was we called them like 4 times about a key, and they wouldn't come. So I explained to them that the policeman was here, and he wants in. Then they came and opened it up, because I didn't want to call the police department and they're in the house sleeping. So, yeah. It was Wednesday. So she just buried her father. And now this. This is rough. I knew him pretty well, but I really don't want to get into all that today. I'm going to stop right there. I probably said, well, I said what I know, and that's it, basically. Okay. Well, that's good. And I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Media is great. You know, that's the fastest way to get word out. So I appreciate you guys. I wasn't planning on speaking at all, but I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. Exactly.
Now, Sophia's been looking into the family's history. Sophia, investigators have to cover all angles in cases like this, and in this case, it's a good thing they have.
Definitely a good thing. Bill and Dominique, CPS got a complaint about a year ago, a little bit after little Maleah received a head injury. And court papers say Maleah and her older brother were physically abused and neglected by both their mother and their biological father. In just about 2 weeks, the courts were to decide if Maleah Davis and her 6-year-old brother would be returned home to their mother, Brittany Bowens, or their biological father, Craig Davis Jr., permanently. Court papers show a CPS custody hearing was scheduled for May 22nd. They also show that little Maleah Davis and her brother had been in CPS custody for the past several months. The court documents state, quote, Brittany Bowens has engaged in a history or pattern of child abuse and child neglect. Craig Davis has engaged in a history or pattern of child abuse and child neglect. Mother Brittany Bowens was allowed to visit with Maleah and her older brother only once a week every Saturday, but the court papers show Father Craig Davis Jr. was not visiting with his children for unknown reasons. In another section, it says the doctor could not confirm whether Maleah's injuries were caused by abuse and that Brittany Bowens was undergoing parenting classes. Officials with Child Protective Services told us that the children were returned home in February, but under supervision. We reached out to Maleah's mother and her attorney. We have not heard back from that yet. Also, we tried to get in contact with Maleah's biological father. We could not track him down. Houston police tell us that the investigation is ongoing. Reporting live in Sugar Land, Sophia Okita, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
I'm not putting the blame on anybody. I just need the questions that aren't answered to be answered. There are so many unanswered questions. And it's not for the public to answer them for me. It's not for police officers to answer them for me. It's not for the news to answer them for me. It's for Darian to answer for me.
Ma'am, I just found the car, that missing car of that 4-year-old. The address is 5425 Highway 6.
Okay.
I just gave Houston police that information.
You said 5425 Highway 6?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car is it?
It's an Ultimate. I can give you the license plate.
Wait. 1 second. What kind of vehicle?
It's a Nissan Ultimate, the silver-looking color. The license plate is 33092G9. That's the vehicle. They said the license plate on the news last night.
And you said it's in the parking lot of where?
It's in the parking lot. What's over here is off the highway 6.
Okay, ma'am, just take a deep breath. You said it's off of Highway 6, but in the parking lot, like in front of what business?
In the front of, oh, Lord Jesus. It's the Avis rental car in the parking lot of the Riverstone Dental.
Right, but is it in front of the Avis?
It's waiting out, sitting in the parking lot.
Look, it's a silver Altima with paper tags, the one we've been showing you on the news for the last couple of days. The one, as you said, Maleah Davis's stepfather claims she was in when she was abducted, and he was assaulted almost a week ago tomorrow. We've been on this scene in Missouri City, a parking lot outside the Walmart Supercenter, for the last hour and a half, 2 hours. Police telling us that a taxi cab driver actually called this tip in this morning to Missouri City Police, saying, hey, I spotted that car you guys have been talking about for the last couple of days. Police, we're told, have already gained access to the car. They've opened it up. There is a car seat inside, at least one car seat, but no other obvious clues related to the Maleah Davis disappearance. In other words, no sign of Maleah herself. They've checked the cabin of the car. They've checked the trunk of the car. It will be taken to HPD's processing center.
Throughout the press conference talking about the new information, Brittany Bowens held her face in her hands while community activist Quanell X spoke on her behalf against Vince.
He subsequently said some very disturbing things via text messages that the mother needs to share with law enforcement.
Bowens broke off her engagement with Vince just before Maleah disappeared, Quanell said.
She told him that she was giving back his ring and that she was not going to marry him. And I believe that caused him to snap in anger against young Maleah.
She also claims surveillance video implicates him in a crime. All information Quanell acknowledges was not initially shared with police. Some volunteers who took off work to look for the little girl tell us they will no longer hand out flyers. Houston police will not confirm any of the allegations leveled by Bowens. KPRC legal analyst Brian Weiss.
This woman had a moral responsibility as a mom to do what she could as early as she could to to give law enforcement the proverbial head start.
Go to 3. Hey, get in the car! Put your hands up! I'm in the house. Alright. You want the car off, bud? What? Hold on. Alright. Bring this knee forward. Bring it forward. Work on this. Stop playing games.
All right, Mr. Vince, sir, you are here because of a warrant that was issued for your arrest. The warrant charges you with the felony offense of tampering with evidence. Now we're going to hear from the Assistant District Attorney the information that was contained within that warrant.
Your Honor, officers indicate that on May the 4th, that they were assigned to investigate the case of a missing, possibly kidnapped 4-year-old child, complainant Maleah Davis. In the course of conducting that investigation, officers conducted a recorded interview with the defendant, Darian Vence, in which he stated that on Friday, May the 3rd, that he had left his apartment with the 4-year-old, his 2-year-old son, and his 2-year-old son, and that the three of them had gotten into his girlfriend's silver Nissan Altima, and then at some point while he was driving with the 2 children, that he pulled over to check on the tire of the vehicle after he hit a bump, when another vehicle pulled up behind him, and he stated that he was kidnapped by a group of Hispanic males in that truck, received a blow to his head, and said that he didn't see the car that he was driving again, and then he said that he passed out and woke up on the following evening at an unknown location on Highway 6 near Sugar Land, only with his 2-year-old son with him. He said he eventually got a ride from an unknown female to Methodist Sugar Land Hospital.
He wants the world to know that he's innocent.
Yes.
Did he say anything else?
He's doing well. He's very strong. He's a good man. So once God is with you, the whole world, the whole city, everybody can be against you. So we're a strong, praying family. God is on our side. God is with my brother. So I have no worries.
Thank you for your patience. We thank you for coming by. I know how difficult this is. I'd asked you earlier about Maleah's birthday, February 6th. Tell me about the day she was born.
The day she was born. I had to have a C-section with her, and I just remember being in the hospital by myself.
Other family members not there, or? Wow.
Helpful.
Did she have a favorite color, favorite doll, favorite cartoon?
Well, her favorite color was pink. She wasn't a doll person. She would play with cars, if anything. she loved cars. But her favorite cartoon character was Rainbow Dash. And she used to watch My Little Pony all the time. She wouldn't want to watch anything else. And I remember she used to tell me how Rainbow Dash was her best friend.
Really? I have a daughter, and My Little Pony was her favorite when she was that age. The world has been touched by this story. There's been an outpouring of support and great interest and concern. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I'm not sure why, but I know this kind of spirit Maleah had.
Are you able to get any sleep? Do you have an appetite?
It's hard, and I've been trying to eat. It's hard. It's hard to sleep. It's like my mind and my spirit can't rest. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. concentrate on anything. I can't even recall things from the day before. It's hard. Nobody can tell you how to be in a situation like this. I've never been in a situation like this. It's devastating for me. And all I do is pray. That's all I can do. And just give it to God, because this situation is, I can't control this. I can't control this. There's nothing I can do.
Ever since your daughter was announced missing, there have been stories every day. Do you watch the stories?
No.
How's your mom doing? She spoke the first time we heard from you. I remember her speaking at the news conference.
I haven't talked to her.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. It's like, ever since, I don't know, she doesn't want to be in the media. And I'm okay with that.
I see. But there's something going on between you two where you're not talking, which seems surprising given what you're going through. You'd want to talk to your mom.
I want to talk to Mom. It's too much for her.
Let's go back a lot. When you got back, he explains what happens. What else did he tell you?
When I saw him, when
you got home.
When I got home that
Yes.
Sunday,
Yes.
he never really said anything to me. He just kept saying, I'm sorry.
He said he was sorry.
I'm sorry.
Did he
I tried to protect her. That's all he told me. He didn't really tell me much. Same things that I heard going around this, he didn't tell me anything.
So, did you have suspicions did you have a bad feeling?
It was always in the back of my mind, yes.
What was in the back of your mind?
That something could have possibly happened.
And that maybe he was involved?
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I know that my mother had done laundry on the 1st and he picked it up. Maybe it was there. I don't know. You know.
You came back May 3rd, I believe. So, how much longer was Darian there? Because at some point, police couldn't find him. Was he there for another 2 days, another 3 days? Do you remember?
I don't understand that question.
My question is, at some point, police said they tried to find him. So, at some point, he obviously left the apartment. Was it after you'd been home for 2 or 3 days?
When they first released him on that Sunday? I'm sorry.
Before he was even arrested.
Before he was, on the 3rd. No, he was supposed to be picking me up on the 3rd.
Right.
And he never showed up. I waited for him for 2 hours.
Who picked you up at the airport?
My mother.
And what did she tell you? Did she give you a reason why he wasn't there?
No, but she told me that if he were to make it there, then just to ride with him.
I see. But he never made it?
But he never made it.
Did you go to your apartment that night?
I sure did.
And was he there?
No, the car wasn't there. Nobody was answering the door, and the light was still on in the dining area.
So when did you see him?
I seen him Sunday.
Okay, so that was the next day.
The 3rd was Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we filed the missing persons report that Saturday.
Okay.
He didn't come into the hospital until later on that night.
That night.
And the police didn't release him until that Sunday.
Did he ever come back to the apartment after that?
No.
Where did he go?
He went on Sunday. He came back to my mother's house.
To your mother's house?
Yes.
So why did he not come back to the apartment with you?
I didn't go to the apartment.
Oh, okay.
I went back to with my mother. I didn't.
So you were both staying with your mom
Yeah.
at a certain point? Did you not have a key?
No, they had a spare key in the house, and he had the key on the car keys.
I see. At what point did you become suspicious of Darian? That maybe he had something to do with?
When he started hiding from me.
Hiding, like just wouldn't come home?
Just, no, when my suspicion grew Monday after he had been released. And he did not want to talk. His family wouldn't let me talk to him for whatever reason.
So then you were suspicious?
Yeah.
This is a man you loved. This is a man you had a child with. Did you think he was ever capable of doing any harm to any of your children?
No.
Never
because
thought that?
That's not what I seen.
Brittany, have you ever been afraid of Darian Vince?
No.
Has he ever harmed you in any way?
No.
Verbally abusive?
No.
Physically abusive?
No.
The police have talked about the evidence in the apartment. Bleach. Blood in the apartment. Linked to Maleah. Everything seems to point to this man harming your daughter. Have you grasped that reality?
I'm still processing. I'm still processing that. It's hard for me to think about.
So, I want to ask you something, because you have brought this up in interviews, and this is a touchy subject. You have said in interviews that there was abuse in the home, and Brittany was afraid to reveal it because she was afraid. You have put that out there.
Let me say this to you. My number one obligation is not to the stepfather, it's not to Brittany. My number one obligation is to that beautiful child right there, Maleah. Justice for her is the priority. Where she is the priority. Everybody else are adults. They have to stand on their own 2 feet and answer for whatever they've done. But that child is the priority. And let me be straight with you. This man has to answer. He has to answer for what happened before she came up missing. He has to answer for that. Because there's a lot more here. His mother had no idea that this child was leaving the house with him in the morning. He's saying, I'm taking the child to daycare. But only later to learn from the investigation from both HPD and us that he was bringing the child back home sometimes with him. What is your purpose to tell this mother while she's going to class or she's going to work, Maleah's at daycare, yeah, I took her to school, but come to find out she's at home with you? Why would you lie and say she's at daycare, but have her in the house with you? The very day that she went to the airport, picked up by her friend, she leaves out the house believing Maleah is at the daycare and didn't even know he had snuck her back in the house as she walking out the door. What you doing, brother? What are you doing done to this child.
Are you saying there was abuse?
Hell yeah, I'm saying there's abuse. And there's a whole lot more.
And you're saying...
But let me say this.
And you're saying that Brittany was not aware.
Let me say this.
I want to be clear.
She was not aware of a lot that was going on.
You were not aware.
But one thing I am going to do, because right now the priority is still finding Maleah. I'm going to say a lot more before it's over. And I'm going to point directly to the facts of it. But I want to first find Maleah.
We can all understand that.
Of course.
Have you talked to Darian Vince since he was arrested?
No.
Has he tried to reach out to you?
No.
Do you plan to visit him?
No.
You're done.
Yes.
Darian was arrested, I believe, at his brother's house. Have you talked to his brother?
Next question.
Have you talked to any of his family members?
We have spoken to the brother.
Both of you? And
that's how he was really arrested. But we'll talk about that more. But we have talked with the brother, and that's actually what helped play a role in getting him arrested.
Can you say what was said?
No, not right now. But I do believe, for a fact, they were helping him hide out. And I do believe that a few of them know a whole lot more of what really went down with Maleah than what they've said.
We got a lot of questions on Facebook from viewers. People wanted to know, why did you leave your kids with Darian Vince when you went to your father's memorial?
I didn't pay for my ticket. My aunt did.
So you're saying you couldn't afford to take them with you?
Exactly.
Could you not have placed them with other family members? Your mother and aunt?
My aunt doesn't live here.
What about the Davis family?
The Davis family, Peyton went. Maleah could have went too.
And why didn't she?
They should have asked for her. I didn't even know that they wanted to come get Pey. They told me last minute.
So when you left, you had no concern that Vince could or would harm your child?
No.
They've come up with nothing. Have you accepted the possibility that Maleah is no longer alive?
Let's move on to the next question.
I know it's tough, but that is something you have to live with every day. I'm sure you've thought about this.
I have thought about it. But I don't want to accept it.
You don't want to accept it? I think every parent in America would agree with you. We all hope that she is found and that she's okay. But she may not be.
She may not.
Amber alerted search for a little girl missing for almost a month.
Quanell X has confirmed to Channel 2 he no longer represents Brittany Bowens, the mother of 4-year-old Maleah Davis. Police have been searching for Maleah since she vanished May 3rd. Her stepfather, Darian Vince, claims she was kidnapped. He's in jail now, as police suspect he may be involved in her disappearance. Our Kathy Hernandez is tracking why Quanell X suddenly stopped working with the family. Kathy, good morning.
Well, good morning to you. Memorial sits here right outside the apartment where Maleah lived with her mother and stepfather. As we know, activist Quanell X has been working on the case, and now he says, though, he is pulling out because of inconsistencies in this mother's story. Even as people were calling for charges against Maleah Davis's mother, Brittany Bowens, Quanell X stood by her side. He worked with Bowens after the disappearance of her 4-year-old daughter. Now, a new twist in the case. Quanell X is no longer working with Bowens, telling KPRC there are inconsistencies with her story. Bowens' ex-fiancé, Darian Vince, claimed 3 men kidnapped Maleah in early May. At the time, Bowens was allegedly out of state. Now Vince is charged with tampering with evidence, namely a human corpse. Investigators say they found blood linked to Maleah in his apartment. At one point, Bowens said she withheld information from detectives. Quanell X speaking on her behalf.
She told him that she was giving back his ring and that she was not going to marry him. And I believe that caused him to snap in anger against young Maleah.
From behind bars at the Harris County Jail, Vince isn't cooperating with investigators, and there's still no sign of young Maleah Davis.
But one thing he wanted to make clear to me was what happened to Maleah was an accident. He says it was an accident. And he confessed to me where he dumped her body. And so Texas Equity Research will be coordinating those efforts to find Maleah's remains. Detectives now have the information that they need, but he told me it was an accident, and he confessed to me, yes.
And what did he say happened?
I don't want to go into that.
What can you say at this time?
All I can say to you is that he told me it was an accident, and that she is dead, and where he dumped her body
And where's that?
is in Arkansas.
It's Arkansas.
Yes.
So what brought everybody here then specifically?
To talk about, to coordinate what happened and what took place and what they needed to know.
Did something happen here?
No, just no, not at all. No.
Where in Arkansas?
I don't want to get off into that. Can't say right now. But he told me exactly where it is in Arkansas, that he dumped the body in Arkansas, and he was very specific with the amount of distance and time. And when I was able to leave and look at everything up on my phone, he was to the point on distance and time.
Why Arkansas? Does he have family there?
I have no clue. I have no clue.
How did he get there? Did he travel in a vehicle in the Nissan that was found? Or?
It was in a car. He was in a car. He said that he pulled over in Arkansas, got out of the car, walked off the side of the road, and dumped her body off the side of the road.
Did he say anything about Brittany? Did she know about this? Anything?
He didn't say anything like that to me.
Did he say what day she died?
I didn't go that far with him.
How were you able to get him to reveal this information?
2 men talking.
How were you able to get in during non-visitation hours?
Excuse me?
How were you able to get into the jail during non-visitation
People
hours?
visit all the time. And I was able to get in.
How long has she been in Arkansas?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about how long that she was there, but it was early on.
Did you ask him? All these people that searched, coordinated all these searches, all these efforts that were made, and he knew where she was the entire time. Why suddenly now?
All I can tell you is he told me where the body is and told me where he dumped her.
So do you believe him? You believe him, or you think it's another crazy story?
No, I think it's the truth. I don't think he was lying to me. I think he was telling the truth. Many men have confessed these type of crimes to me in involving children. And Texas Equity Research and I work together on similar situations like this. And the confession is always proven to be true.
Tim, what do you think to ring a truth to you?
I think it's true enough that I've got an airplane lined up at 3 o'clock to go ahead and fly detective and several of us up there to go ahead and start the search. Investigators have been talked to up there in Arkansas, and so I believe it's true. Myself, with the timeline and stuff, I believe that we're looking at. We don't want to get into too much detail, but hopefully.
Where are you going?
Oh, well, we're not going to say where we're going in Arkansas.
This call will be recorded and monitored.
I have a collect call from an inmate county detention facility. Your telephone service provider does not allow collect calls. If you would like to accept this and future collect calls, you must establish a prepay account. We accept Visa and MasterCard. If you would like to set up an account and accept this call, please press 4.
Hey, hi.
What you doing, girl? You know I miss you.
You don't have to be in my situation.
You know one of these days I'ma marry you.
I am a good mother.
I was trying to get out of trouble. I was trying to just get out of jail.
That I'm hurting just like everybody.
You know I didn't hurt your daughter. You know I'd do anything for y'all. You know I didn't hurt your daughter, baby. You know the truth. But I gotta get off here. I'm gonna have to call you later.
Maleah Davis's body was 5 days before Quanell X broke the news. Darion would confess to him that while he was sitting at the kitchen table doing something on his phone, Maleah tried to crawl in his lap. Chiffon said Vince was frustrated about something and shooed Maleah away. When she came back for the second time, he said Vince then picked Maleah up and threw her, causing her to hit her head. Vince told him she became unresponsive and he went to go lay her in her bed. Vince continued to say when he came back, Maleah was still unresponsive. With tears in his eyes, Chiffon said if police would have acted on the information sooner, they would have found her before the lawnmower ran over her.
After being missing for more than a month, thousands of people marched in downtown Houston this morning wearing pink and calling for justice. They marched from City Hall to the Harris County Jail, where Maleah's stepfather, Darion Vence, remains locked up. Many today said they believe a failure in the system allowed for Maleah's death. They claim alleged signs of abuse were not taken seriously, and those that may have been noticed were taken too lightly.
Little Maleah Davis was laid to rest. It's the final farewell.
She has united the city. Everybody knows Maleah Davis, a household name.
4-year-old Maleah Davis laid to rest Saturday morning after a private ceremony described by Mayor Sylvester as colorful.
It's very uplifting. The praise dancing, very colorful. The singing, very uplifting. This was not a sad funeral.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee also among those who attended.
I don't know if I came here for any other reason than that I'm a mother with a broken heart.
The Congresswoman presented Maleah's family with 2 American flags that were once flown at the Capitol.
What we wanted to do is offer love to the mother and to the father and to the family members.
Following the ceremony, her colorful casket, topped with rainbow-colored roses, taken from Crossing Community Church to the burial site. Maleah Davis' final destination in a journey that Mayor Sylvester Turner says has changed the city.
We're leaving no stone unturned, and at the end of the day, our hope and prayer is that we will charge the person or persons responsible for her death.
Homicidal violence, that is the official cause of death for little Maleah Davis.
Less than a week after she was laid to rest, autopsy results confirming Maleah Davis's death wasn't an accident. But the medical examiner says she died from homicidal violence. KHU legal analyst Gerald Tree says it's the ammunition needed to charge Vince with more.
Well, Russ, Darion Vence didn't even make it into the courtroom today. Brittany Bowens, Maleah's mother, did. She was escorted in by police for her own protection. Maleah's mother, Brittany Bowens, in court today, flanked by Precinct 1 deputy constables. She hoped to come face-to-face with Darion Vence when the case was rescheduled. She
She found herself face-to-face with protesters instead, calling on police to arrest her. Bowen said nothing as she walked out.
Everybody that has something to do with this, they need to be locked up. Because if it was your kids or your family member, you'll do everything under the sun to make sure they serve.
Tamisha Mendoza is Maleah's father's cousin. The family continues to believe Maleah's mother played a role in her disappearance. So far, Vance remains the only person charged.
Say hey. I see your shoe. Say hey.
Aww. Good job. There you go. Lean a little closer to you. You're doing great. They're just pillows. They're just pillows. You don't need them. Ready? Can you use that hand this time? Okay. Use that hand. There you go. You gonna blow? Uh-oh. You do. Help! Use other hand. Help you. Oh. Can you do it? Is it over me? Can you do one finger like this? Hold up, one finger. And I want you to touch each bubble, okay?